Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up? Well, take a walk with me. So, we're going to talk about how to interpret your birth charts and able to merge your divine masculine and divine feminine. Because, we all have that within ourselves. Because the first step into being able to come into full union for those of us who have been on the twin flame journey for quite some time. If you're new, it might take a little bit of time to really grasp the concept because it's a lot. It's a lot. Ask anybody. It's a lot. But I won't say it's necessarily the first step, but once you get to a certain point and you're ready to understand, you're ready to, not saying that you don't understand or anything like that. You see, I'm trying to be more precise in my wording because communication does go a long way. I know I'm going a little bit off topic, but it serves a purpose. Because we might say one thing and to us or, to a few group of people, it means the same thing, but to other people, it'll mean something completely different. So, bear with me with my wording choices. But, when we interpret our charts, we, in Western astrology, which most of us in the United States understand, is we all know our zodiac sign of the month that we were born in. Western astrology is the sun, which in symbolism represents the father, more masculine side. So when we do, like, one good website is Astro Cafe or Astrology Cafe, Astro Astrology Cafe, somewhere around those lines, to do our birth chart. That's our masculine side. That's everything that is more, domineering, more protective instincts, anything that from societal aspects supports a father being, the strong, the protective, the disciplinary, and it is, I won't say more ego-driven because feminine side can be ego-driven as well, but in our society, the masculine side is more egotistical, so to speak. But the Vedic astrology is, if you look up, there's a app called I'm gonna tag everything below, but it's Cosmic Insights. There it is. And with Cosmic Insights, you upload your birth chart and everything, you're going to get a completely different set of signs. For example, in Western, I am a Sagittarius. In Vedic, my sun sign is a Scorpio. I know, right? According to this one book I had, I gave it to a friend of mine, and I mean, stuff happens. You misplace stuff. I'm a cusp. So, which makes sense, considering that, we hold both. So, but, anywho, not gonna get into all that. In Vedic, where my Sagittarius placement is for my communications. Now in sun, we know our sun to be like our personality type and things of that. Well, that makes, sense because a part of our personality is how we communicate. Which is why I sometimes struggle when it comes to word selections and choices, because as much as I might try to come off, I have a very strong personality. For years I didn't realize this. I thought I seen other people that had very strong personalities, but law of attraction, now that I'm more aware of that and along my own spiritual journey and awakening, it makes sense. If we see that in somebody else, we actually essentially embody that within ourselves. All those years ago, I didn't get that. It's all divine timing. God does what he wants. He let you know when you're ready. Or source, spirit, everybody has different knowledge. God, I grew up Christian, so that's my wording preference for that. But very, very blunt. And so even though I might feel like I may be sugarcoating something, not sugarcoating as in to be deceptive, but to sometimes the first thing that comes to our head is not the proper thing to say. So, you got to work through that and be able to be like, okay, let me phrase it like this so, I don't come off as a jerk or whatever the case may be. That was something that needed to be worked on. Every part of our housing chart is something that has some type of karmic template that we go through life and evolve and transform and transmute in order to clear that out so that we can become more of our higher selves, become more of the divinity that we are. Because, based off of, like I said, I grew up Christian, based off of Christianity and the Bible, we are all God's children. And he made us within his image. Therefore, we have a piece of that divinity within all of us. It's just going through life to get there. That's why if you notice, even in generations, think about, the family. The elders are more, they're more chilled, they're more laid back. They just let you take your kids to your parents. They let them run amok. As far as, what we can see. Now I get it, because I'm not as stern on my son as I used to be. And y'all go back through these videos, y'all can see. And which is another thing that's being as cool as being a reader, because not only do I get to help other people through the stuff that I am learning as I go along and come across learning it, because I get excited. So as soon as I learn something, I hop right on here hey, y'all, guess what? But I can go back and reflect and look and see at my own transformation. Even you guys can go back and look and see my transformation. Man, you used, but now you're nothing but God, baby, But they had those years of experiences. It's not their age, because now everybody is at their own stepping point in what their free will has allowed them to do, what they have chosen to be able to do and heal and learn from through their own experiences. There are some people that that's what they say. Act your age, not your shoe size. You could be 50-something years old and wearing a size 8. But going along with interpreting your chart, in Vedic astrology, that holds the moon. The moon sign is, based off of symbolism, is the more mothering nature, the more emotions. Even in tarot, the moon represents emotions and secrets, which makes sense, because what's the one thing that we hold so dear to us is our emotions, our heart, our heart space. So in Western, the more masculine side deals with the mind, intellectual thought, logic, facts. Think of it as hard science. You know, you have the hard sciences like math and you know, the scientific method, things that can be proven over and over again. If you do this, and you do these variables exactly the same way, it's going to come out the same exact way. You know, so think of the sun as more hardened proof, something that you can actually prove. Emotions you can't prove. You know, it's nothing tangible. It's nothing you can, because you go through the same experience and embody completely different emotions. So with Vedic, that is your emotional heart, your emotional side of you, which is your heart space, your heart chakra. You know, because we do hide our emotions, which then are what? Secrets. So in tarot, the moon representing secrets makes complete sense. But it's also the more mothering side. The moon represents the mother, you know, the more caring, nurturing side. That's our divine feminine. So by looking up both of your charts, which if you have a child, especially if you live in Western society, make sure you know what birth time. Now the time might be off by a couple of minutes because, you know, going through the birthing process, the doctor trying to take care of the baby, and then when they write down the time, they look at the clock right then and there. A couple minutes, I personally, this is my opinion, I don't feel would matter as much. Now, like a half an hour, 15 minutes, that might, but you know, I'll just plant the seed of being aware of that, because now they do not put the times on birth certificates. Even if you lose your birth certificate, they don't put the time on there. I'm gonna leave that right there. Just think on that a little bit. But when we put our birth times in, we're able to get our ascendant or rising sign as well as our moon sign. Otherwise, we just know what month we're born in, which is just our masculine side. Or just, you know, even going over to Vedic, just our moon sign. Now, can you work with that? Yes. You know, I'm not saying, you know, that's not, it's just the more information you have, the more information you're able to gain, the more clarity you're able to get, the more understandings you're able to, the quicker and easier it, to a certain degree, because clearing karma is not easy at all by far means, but you have a more of a stable set foundation to be able to develop these changes around. With understanding Vedic and Western astrology and combining them both, you're able to understand your divine masculine side and your divine feminine side. Because on the twin flame journey, because everybody wants to get to the pot under the rainbow, the treasure, we have to come to embody our own twin flame, our own self, our higher and lower self. If you want to break it down to that, going into the chakras, you know, the bottom three merge with the top three: root, solar plexus, sacral chakra, and then our top three, you know, the crown, the voice, and your heart chakra. As you know, the lower three is our more masculine side. The higher three is our more feminine side. Now, give or take, because what I'm getting right now, there is they all embody both, but based off of your own personal birthing into the world. Some of us are more emotional, some of us are more factual based. So whichever one your lower three is, that's what's going to be more embodied. Like for me, I'm more of an emotional person. You know, I'm more of a divine feminine naturally. So when things and information or environment that comes into me, I process it with my emotions. So it comes in through my heart space, and then I formulate a logical thought process or how to move, or my thoughts are generated through that. So that is what needed to be grounded. But then I had to bring into play my crown chakra with my throat and my heart space. Grounding that allowed me to, those are my masculine qualities, because to freely express my emotions based off of the logic and thoughts was things that was hard for me. But that shows that was more of a masculine side for me personally, because being able to voice that, being able to stand in my truth and stand by it, and even if somebody says, well, no, I don't agree with that, or no, that's wrong, no, you're stupid, no, no, how can you get to that, that's dumb, this, where's the proof? I still had to have my emotions grounded enough through my creativity and, what the root and the sacral and the solar plexus chakra stands for, and have my top three still strong enough to be able to stand in my own truth. And it's going to be vice versa for someone who's more intellectual, and not saying that, either person's more intellectual or anything. It's literally how we process our external environment and how we receive information. A divine masculine is going to process everything, get everything, figure out a logical viewpoint or how to go about stuff, and then process it, and then those thoughts then become emotions. So it's opposite of a divine feminine, because they formulate a thought, and then that thought then becomes an emotion, and then that's how it comes out. For a divine feminine, we get an emotional response and then reprocess it out through our thoughts, and then that's how it's output into our environments. And that's environment as in all aspects, family, friends, relationships, co-workers, careers, the whole 12 charts. The whole 12 houses. Now there is a awesome, if you type in the houses of the zodiac, meaning of the houses, meaning of the 12 houses of the zodiac, or just meaning of the 12 houses. Astro Cafe has some great definitions behind that. I'll tag that below as well. And personally, what I do, which has gotten me so far where I have gotten, I can truly say, because of this, because of being able to, because we all can do it. You know how you see something like, well, even though that's opposite, there's a similarity between the two. Being able to really embrace that. There was, a few people that I had, followed, and some were more, feminine, some were more masculine, some, embodied both. They were completely aware of themselves. And it led me to honestly be where I am now. I had looked up both, merged them both, and when I do look up a zodiac sign, for me, Gemini is in my 12th house, which is rebirth, clearing out of karma, endings. Oh my God, the 12th house holds a lot, which is your 12th house. So that is essentially one of the heaviest ones to clear, and the first one being our personality, because that's what the first house embodies, is typically the easier one, so to speak. You know, everybody's different. Only because, at least for me, that it is, because that does show our personality. So that's something that we can actively see within ourselves, and how we're presenting ourselves to people, and how we feel we're presenting ourselves to people, and the feedback we get back from our external environment of how we are, you know, actually perceiving ourselves to people. Now, yeah, that takes some time to, you know, completely, you know, because we're never really completed. We get to one step, we got some other steps that lets us to, oh, that is an awesome bird. It's some other, what kind of bird is that? I have to look that up. Okay. You know, we're never done learning, we're never done growing. But being able to do that and look up the chart. So when I watch, based off of Vedic and Western, when I watch Gemini, I read the definition of the 12th house, and then I apply that to the reading. Now, when they say, you know, soulmates, oh, you got the soulmate coming in and this, well, Gemini is not in my house of romantic partnerships. So if I come across a Gemini and it's for some type of rebirth or something, they're going to help me clear out some type of karma. I'm going to have a karmic lesson learned and experience gained through my interaction with this person. Now, I don't go around and everybody come in my life, I'm like, hey, so are you a Gemini? You know, because they might have Gemini in another placement in their chart that is what it is that's healing mine. That's going to take a little bit. I have to do some research and experiment that. But, and see how that ties in with theirs, because that would be cool. Now, could it be, you know, their sun sign or whatever? Yeah, it could. But through, and that's how I apply my understanding to watching that particular zodiac sign. If I watch Sagittarius, I know that now, yes, when I do watch Vedic, because I watch more Vedic because that's what's really a lot of clearing. My divine masculine side, I watch it and I go through the charts with that, but not as much as I personally do my divine feminine, because my emotions is what's really, that's how I receive information. So I'm more inclined to watch the houses off of that versus my divine masculine side, because how I come out comes within me from my emotions in the first place. And that was the houses that I was more unaware of for me. Now, you know, you gotta figure out kind of on your own which one you need to monitor more, or, you know, it goes off of you and your own personal journey. I wouldn't know unless I actually sat down and had a conversation with you, like, just, and not just a personal conversation. But, and being able to, you know, interpret what God gives me through my intuition and all that good stuff, maybe even reading, I don't know. But based off of those houses, like the 7th house is for romantic partnerships, companionship, things of that nature. So when I watch that zodiac sign that corresponds with that, that's what I watch. Now, in Vedic astrology, you have D1 and you have D9. There are other I'm not sure exactly. There are other breakdowns, that's what I'm going to call it, within there. And you click on Cosmic Insights, and it's like a D1 up there in the little right-hand corner. Depending on what kind of phone you have. For an iPhone, it's going to be up in your right-hand corner somewhere in a little drop-down box. You're going to get a drop-down box. But D1 is at the top, and then somewhere down there is a D9. Now with D9, that's like karma coming in, or like where you're supposed to go in life. You could read up on the definition behind all of that, because it is extensive. Astrology is its own class. You can literally get a master's degree in astrology, and they're still, discovering different planets, and yeah, it's a lot. But it's interesting, for those of you who are interested. If you just want the basics, D1 and D9. So what I do, I watch, so like Gemini is in my 12th house based off of my D1, but in my D9 it's somewhere else. So then I go and I look up the definition, because I have it bookmarked. Like, okay, 12th house and such house, and I read the definitions of both. So then when I come across a Gemini reading, I watch that, and it's like a mind Jedi trick, so to speak. I formulate that, what the information that I'm getting from that reader that I follow, that I happen to resonate with, into those aspects of my life, and I apply them there. If I watch a different, if I see like, ooh, this is a good, this title is attracting me for some reason. Okay, this is a Cancer reading. Let me see what holds in this. Where is this at? In both Western and Vedic, for me, Cancer is my rising sign. Yeah, ain't no escaping that. All them emotions. Emotional, masculine, and so that's why for me, like, watching more Vedic just works out for me. But it depends on your own birth chart, your own preference, your own. It depends on that. But I know that in Vedic, Cancer is my personality, but it also falls in, which is my first house, but it also falls in another aspect in my D9 chart. So then I go read the definitions and apply that. So when I watch that particular video, or any video that deals with Cancer, I'm going to apply those aspects of those houses into the information getting received, and then apply that into my life, the messages that were, resonated with me, and apply that into my life to be able to transform or heal or, mature in that way, clear that karma. So the houses hold different meanings for everyone. Different, we're all walking through this journey and this experience in a different way. We're all learning different things at different times. Some of us are, learning more of similar things. That's how we can come together and commune. It's not necessarily we're at the same point. It's just, that's like your soul family, your soul tribe. So you have a lot of stuff in common, even that doesn't, necessarily deal with the houses and all this, just, in common. But, we're all in different parts of the journey. And what makes being, in a particular soul tribe or family a little bit more easier, for one, you're not alone. Know that even if you do feel alone, you're not alone. There are more people out there that are going through the same thing that you're going through. It might not be the exact same thing, but somebody else could have just, healed from a karmic relationship, and then they come across somebody else who's going through that. Our experiences, or what we see, as like, man, that was bad, that was karmic, and I'm using these terms on purpose because in our society, just being completely blunt, that's how we're conditioned to view things like, oh, well, that's bad, and that was this, oh, that was horrible. Now, ain't none of this stuff easy. We're allowed to feel how it is that we feel. We're allowed to embody I won't say embody. We're allowed to feel our emotions, and then because feeling them and embracing them to a certain standpoint is healing at the same time, because you're taking acceptance of, hey, you know what, I don't feel good, this is not okay, right now I don't feel all peachy and rainbows, but it's not coming at like, okay, well, no, I'm on a spiritual journey and I can't have none of that, and because now that's being neglectful, in a very blunt way to put it. It's kind of deflection and being just ignoring. After a while, you do that for so long, it's going to come out one way or another. And 9 times out of 10, trust me from personal experience, it gets to a boiling point. It's like sweeping stuff under the rug, especially for cancers, because for one, cancers can take a lot of stuff emotionally, because it takes a lot to get us to such a point. But if we don't embrace that fact that, oh, well, I possibly have been sweeping stuff under the rug, eventually you keep sweeping dust under the rug, you're not gonna be able to hide it there. Everybody's gonna be like, okay, what's that big old lump under your rug? Is there a person up under there? Like, what's really going on? And then somebody opens the door, and then all that dust gets blown around the house, and then guess what happened? You had a breakdown, which we all go through that. It takes us sometimes a couple breakdowns or a release of emotions in a way that at the time seem not of our highest good, or just horrible and a big huge mistake. But once we become a little bit more aware of everything and more accepting, because this took me a while. Nothing is essentially bad, nothing is essentially a mistake, because God already knew what we were going to do. He knew that was going to happen. So if he knew that was going to happen, obviously it happened for a reason. Sometimes it takes us to bump our head a couple times. You open up the freezer, but then you want to get something out the refrigerator. So then you open up the refrigerator. Eventually you learn to close the freezer door before you do that, because when you pop back up and you're like, no, I'm going to remember that it's open. But then it starts swinging, and you say you're going to remember, but you get too in tune looking for what you got to look for in the refrigerator. You sit back up and you bump your head. Eventually, we're going to be like, you know what? I'm not even going to set myself up for failure, because I know I'm going to hit my head on that. Sometimes it takes us to do that. But also at the same time, going through an experience, and this is my opinion, personally holds so much more. Are you going to get help from or advice from somebody who just has, like, I'll put it in perspective like this in the military way, because I was in the military. A lot of the people, at least that I've came across, will be more behooved to go get advice from a sergeant, because sergeants actually do like a lot of hands-on things. Like, they're the ones walking into combat with people. They're the ones, actually that started off as a E1, which is like the first entry in the Army. Now, there's different labels and classifications in every branch, but started off as level 1 or level 2 or level 3, and worked their way up through the chain of command in that way. That's what we call a non-commissioned officer, or sergeants. Non-commissioned basically means they're not officers, which officers have some type of extra training, or what the military field is extra assistance, like a college degree, or they went to ROTC, which is like the college equivalent of military school. And then when they graduate, they go into the military as officers. Well, they had everything done through and learned and acquired through books, and their thing was more logic based. And a sergeant has more of like actual walkthrough experience. Now, I'm not saying either one is good or bad, no, because that's why there is a combination within a platoon, which is a family, so to speak, for those who are unfamiliar with military terms. That's why you have a commander, because they're a officer, but then the platoon itself is actually ran by a sergeant who is a non-commissioned officer. They just don't have the commission. They're think of it, a leader without the added pay, because they didn't go to college, so they don't have to pay off college debts. I mean, that might be why they pay the officer a little bit more. I don't know. But with the combination of both, the instincts is more so what your emotions. When you have an instinct about something, it comes through your emotions. But then when you apply like a plan, you're more logical about it. So you see how those are like really cohesive, and you need both. You can't have one without the other. They work together when they both have a understanding of what the other one does and how the other one does, and how to intermingle them both for the highest good. That's how our divine masculine and divine feminine, our own twin flame within ourselves, is applied within our own lives. So it's good to have an understanding of Western astrology, and it's also good to have an understanding of Vedic astrology as far as your personal placements of your houses in each chart, because that's how we go about and be able to actually get the readings. Cross reading isn't just like, okay, well, I know this person's 3 signs and that's it. Yeah, that gives you a nice foundation of what you're cross reading for, but also at the same time, like, you could be watching something that's their sun sign, but it also plays a role in this other part of their life. So how they feel about their personality is attached to this other house as well, so their finances. So maybe if their personality is coming across not that all that cool, everybody's like, well, dang, why are you acting such like a jerk right now? Oh, well, you must have some karma or something like this. Like, they finances might not be doing too good. Or, if somebody holds and it deals with family, maybe, they going through some rough stuff with their family or their career, or, it plays a role. But you got to think about it. When one part of our lives that we hold truly dear, that's a part of our, principles, like, for me, like, yeah, I value money, but it's not like a big deal. I could be happy, as y'all can see through this whole little transformation part of my journey, with what I got. And it's not saying be a grateful or anything like that. We all have our personal preference, which is what we're allowed to do. We're allowed to, like, well, you know what? It's not necessarily the money itself. It's, I'm using money because that's something everybody can relate to. Because, some people are like, oh, no, I don't need anything at all. It's like, well, you do need something able to, you got to eat. You got to get personal hygiene stuff. So you value it, even if it's a little bit. You just don't feel like you need to be a bajillionaire. But it plays a role in how we present ourselves. If we feel like certain parts of our life that we hold dear, or is a part of how we view ourselves, which we will know through reading our charts and things of that nature, if that's not doing good, it's going to affect how we project ourselves. It's going to affect how we present ourselves. It's going to affect how we feel about ourselves internally. So with all that being said, so when you do interpret your chart and your houses and all of that, you kind of got to play a Jedi mind trick with yourself with the houses, because it's not just cross-watching like, oh, okay, well, I'm attracted to this person. Okay, these are the zodiac signs, so let me cross-watch it. It's way more intrinsic than that. It's a lot more to it than just that. You can be cross-watching somebody, you can be attracted to them, and then you find out they're a karmic. Or, they were just a soulmate. Or, they were just there to come into your life to teach you a certain part of lessons. Like, so, like in your houses that stand for career, you be going out for a job and you're like, yeah, well, I don't necessarily know this boss or anything this. Everything in this country is essentially an entity. Even buildings, they're entities. They technically have their own zodiac sign. They have a date and a time when they were established. Established since, okay, what was the month and all of that? That is their zodiac sign. That is essentially its own personal birth chart, so to speak. Even with the, because when you register a business, when you go, you want to start your own business, you have to register it with, the IRS. They give you a number. How's anything different than a zodiac sign? That's how they track that business, is essentially through that number. Just like, not saying they're tracking us or anything, but that's how they know that, okay, we are American citizens through our social security number. You don't have a social security number, you're not an American citizen. I mean, now, don't get me wrong, I don't know if other places, well, I'm sure other places have social security numbers. I don't know. That's another study, I guess I'll have to research more into. And saying ain't nobody else got social security numbers around here. Just, based off of, like, if other countries do, based off of your social security number, they know which country you belong to, essentially. But, you be going to apply for a job and like, okay, well, yeah, you got a soulmate. Oh, it's either, really could say like, oh, it's either a Cancer or this or that or that. And that just could be a career. And like, oh, this, oh, yep, this is the one. This is a soulmate. It's all come through in love, because for other people, that's a love. We're supposed to, love what it is that we do. We're supposed to love our life. The only thing that is real is love. God is love. So if you're going to a job and you're not sure about it, and you kind of got a little bad feeling, and oh yeah, you get Sarita saying that it's a karmic, that job may not be the one for you. You can stay there, we all got free will, but that's yeah. Because I mean, yeah, that's what they do call, businesses, is what? An entity. It has businesses can get married. What a merger is. Or consolidation, when they consolidate all the assets into one pool and they become one big business and one big organization. Isn't it cool how life just ties like kind of all together? It's awesome. It's awesome. And that's why, we're never going to get to a point where we just know everything. Because by all means, I don't know everything. There's stuff, I see so many holes in what I'm saying in right now, not necessarily saying that what I'm saying is wrong. I'm going off of my intuition and where God, through my experiences and my personal research that I've done, reading the books and things and the schools that I have attended through college, and applying them to, I went through my experiences for a reason. And being able to apply what I have gone through, what I have learned, and what I have seen, and what I have acquired through other people, and all of that, you truly get to see that, man, every day I literally learn something new just talking to people. Like, if I was to say this to somebody else, they're going to give me a completely different new perspective that I didn't think about. I didn't even think about it like that. Well, I could apply that and that because this makes sense to me in this way. Like, they got their truth, even if they disagree. I'm like, okay, well, I want you. And they tell me something like, I didn't even think about it like that. Now, I'm still steadfast in what it is I believe in, but now I have a new perspective. It's like when you watch the movie The Great Debaters, if you were involved in speech and debate, you can't argue for something if you don't know what you're arguing against in the first place. And you can't argue against something unless you know what they're about to argue for about. That's why speech and debate, I love speech and debate. It was as heavy as it was. That was a very demanding extracurricular activity because you had to study both sides. You have to. That's kind of my personal opinion and belief where I derive keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. It's not necessarily enemy or you're in competition. No, it's you have to understand their perspective. If you have to understand how the enemy, so to speak, even when you play football or basketball, when you're on like a sports team, you study the other team that you're about to go and play against, so you'll know how it is that they're going to move to be able to counter react that, to find the weaknesses and that person can't shoot three, so just keep them on the outside, and we don't have to worry about that person scoring on us. Or hey, in football that person's really, really fast, so keep it where they can't pass the ball to him. If you're a wide receiver, make sure you keep up with them. They will never get the ball. They get the ball, they're gonna be gone. So that's where that comes into. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies close. And not necessarily, you're my enemy and I gotta compete. And no, now for somebody, trust me, I was highly competitive. For somebody who was super highly competitive, and not necessarily for the sake of beaten to win, but it was more of a self-validation proven externally. Once we become more secure within ourselves, like, I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. Me being aware and knowing and accepting it and being full of myself is all the proof I need. That's how that plays a role. And being very, very competitive, that's something that's definitely something that needs to be, I won't say need to be, because, we all have free will. That should be, overcame. Trust me, I get it. I get it. And I learned at a very young age how not to be a sore loser. I was playing Shark Attack with my cousins, and I did not like losing because I don't know, for some reason it made me feel less as a child. I learned that real quick on how not to be a sore loser and how to be a team player as far as that aspect of competition went as a young child. And it was like, okay, because my mom was like, okay, since you want to get mad because this person beat you, now you can't play with your own toy. And they were sitting there playing Shark Attack. Mind you, this is my favorite game, and I can't play. Oh, that hurt my little soul. So I learned that real quick at a young age. But, then I was just like, okay, I could compete against myself. And so I use that aspect of competition to better myself. To like, what? I don't want to be the person that now at first I applied it, and it was higher than what I used to apply it, but still, for me personally, not in the right way. I had learned to apply it in this manner, but now it's not even necessarily wanting to say a competition now. It's just being better. Just being a better person. If you have to, to get that competitiveness out of you, by all means, hey, okay, I'm gonna compete against myself. I'm gonna be better. But I would suggest be gentle with that as well, because that can, we are our hardest critic. That can essentially turn to us, be like, okay, man, well, I didn't do this, and then we start having that self-loathing little self pity party, so to speak. And y'all bear with me with my terms. Y'all know I'm a Sag. But, you know, when we really beat ourselves up about something and we start putting ourselves down, it's not nobody else outside, it's, you know, us doing that. You know, we could do the same, we could do as much damage as another person can to our own selves. But to sum up all of this, it's definitely going through it with the houses and looking at it and in that way. I mean, you know, try it. You know, if this resonates with you, try it. If it doesn't, I mean, you can still try it. See how it does work. You know, life is all about experiences and trying new things. I mean, what's the harm? But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, do a couple readings, and yeah, I got a couple more videos to put out that we were getting up here through the weekend. I'm definitely going to have all these readings, so I get my June readings done, because as we know, some stuff happens. And look, I go through my own experiences and clearings and a lot, and God put enough on my plate. At first, it was a lot. But, you know, one bite at a time, you get on through it. One bite at a time, I clean my plate. So, now I'm on to the next meal, so to speak. I know I'm always talking about food, but all right, y'all. Go ahead and get up out of here. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. Everything will be below in the drop box that I mentioned, and as well as, you know, how to do extended readings and all that good stuff. All right, till next time, peace out.